0 to 1, Chapter 3, All Happy Companies Are Different. Peter Thiel opens this chapter with a twist on his contrarian question: what valuable company is nobody building? That question may sound simple, but it's much deeper than it looks. Because creating value isn't the same as capturing value. A company could provide enormous value to society, but still fail as a business if it doesn't figure out how to keep a portion of that value for itself. Take airlines, for example. In 2012, U.S. airlines flew millions of passengers and generated about $160 billion in revenue, but their net profit per passenger was just 37 cents. Compare that with Google, which made $50 billion that same year. While it created less overall value than the airlines, it captured far more of it, with profit margins over 20%. In fact, Google alone was worth more than every U.S. airline combined. Why? Because airlines operate in a brutally competitive environment, while Google stands in a league of its own. Thiel contrasts two major economic models: perfect competition and monopoly. In a perfectly competitive market, many businesses offer the same product, so no one has pricing power. If anyone starts making profits, new competitors enter and drive prices down. Eventually, no one makes any real economic gain. It's survival, not success. On the other hand, a monopoly is a business that owns its market. It can set prices, plan long-term, and reach steady profits. While most people think monopolies are bad, Thiel argues that creative monopolies, companies that innovate so well that no one else can compete, are actually the foundation of progress. He gives Google as a prime example. In search, it hasn't had real competition since the early 2000s, but notice how Google avoids calling itself a monopoly. Why? Because monopolists lie. They downplay their dominance to avoid regulatory attention. Google will say it's just a small player in a huge global advertising market, or just one of many tech companies. That framing helps it avoid being seen as threatening. On the flip side, competitors lie too, but in the opposite direction. They pretend they're unique. Thiel jokes about someone opening a British restaurant in Palo Alto and saying, "We're the only one of our kind." But if you look at the broader food market, or even just restaurants in the area, that uniqueness vanishes. Entrepreneurs often define their market too narrowly to make their product look like the only choice, when in reality, they're just another player in a crowded space. Thiel uses PayPal to make his point. When it launched, PayPal was the only email-based payment company in the world. Even though it had fewer employees than the restaurants in the neighborhood, it was far more valuable. That's the power of a true monopoly, solving a unique problem so well that no one else can even compete. But competition doesn't just limit profits, it shapes behavior. In fiercely competitive markets, businesses become ruthless. Restaurants fight over tiny margins. Workers get underpaid. Even star chefs are pushed to breakdowns under the pressure of constant competition. On the other hand, monopolies like Google can afford to care about things like ethics, employees, and long-term impact. Their stability gives them room to think beyond survival. Now, some people think monopolies hurt society. After all, they make profits from customers. And in a static world where nothing ever changes, that might be true. But we live in a dynamic world. Creative monopolies actually expand choice by inventing new things. Apple didn't just corner the phone market, it created the smartphone market. Customers were happy to pay high prices because they finally had a product that worked and delighted them. Innovation, Thiel argues, is powered by monopoly profits. These profits give companies the incentive to dream big and the resources to follow through. That's why every great tech revolution, from IBM's hardware to Microsoft's software to Apple's design, has come from monopolistic breakthroughs, not cutthroat competition. So why do economists love competition so much? Because their models are built like 19th century physics, simple, mechanical, and focused on equilibrium. But in business, equilibrium means death. A perfectly competitive business is replaceable. No one notices when it fails, because another similar company is always ready to take its place. But the real breakthroughs, the companies that go from 0 to 1, don't live in equilibrium. They break it. They're different. They solve a unique problem in a unique way. And that's why Thiel flips the famous line from Anna Karenina. Tolstoy wrote, "All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way." But in business, it's the opposite. All happy companies are different because each one finds a unique way to escape competition. All failed companies are the same. They fail because they can't.